What's going on, guys? Reaper here, and welcome to Reaper Declassified. So we are now on episode 7 of the Project 69 GTO War Angel build. And in this episode, we're going to be going over the armored quarter window panels for this build. Now, you've all seen The Punisher, right? No, not that one. Not that one either. Yes, now that's the one. Now, in the 2004 film with Thomas Jane, he's got this super cool custom 69 GTO that you see him modifying in parts of the film as well. Now, if you've been following this build for a while, you'll know that back in episode 1 I talked about the Punisher GTO being a big inspiration for this build. And if you've seen the movie, then you absolutely know why. Now, in the movie, the panels are essentially supposed to be bulletproof, as we can see from a couple of scenes. However, for the sake of film purposes, I'm pretty sure what they actually used was relatively thick aluminum plate that was flanged and riveted to create this flex in the panel. Now, I basically copied the same concept by using thin sheet metal, putting a flange in it, and riveting panels together. Now, obviously my panels aren't bulletproof, and they're really not meant to be. Essentially, I just wanted that overall look and style as seen in the movie. And being a post-apocalyptic build, having panels like this, especially in the wasteland, you're probably going to be more worried about keeping yourself protected from others throwing rocks, bottles, or various other bits and pieces of trash, especially with ammo being in such short supply. So overall, their intended purpose is just to keep you protected from the most minor. Now, in the movie, the armored panels for both the door and the quarter window area are actually set up to a pneumatic system that's attached somewhere in here. So with the flip of a switch or a lever, these panels can go up or down at will. And the front and back panels in the movie essentially are set up to a pulley system. So when he pulls down the front, it also brings down the back. And when he pulls the front back up, it pulls the back up. So the ultimate end goal is to have all the armor paneling in this thing set up just like it is in the 2004 Punisher movie. So of course, eventually I'll have both of the door panels done, the back glass, and the front windshield. Now, to do that, I'm going to have to wind up making a track or a channel along the A-pillar and a part of the roof, which I can utilize the roll bar and roll cage for that. I'll also have to do the same thing in the back window. Now, the way that I ultimately wound up making these panels is by taking a template of the original quarter glass and then extending each individual piece in this panel out so I had room to put the flange and overlap to ensure that everything came out with the proper dimensions for both overlap and window fitment. Now, in the last episode, I also talked about a specialty tool that is both a flanging and hole punch tool. And that's essentially what this is. So it flips around both ways, and on this end you have your flange. So it puts that lip and that flange in there for overlapping. You flip it around and you've got your hole punch tool, which is perfect if you've got to do spot welds or any overlapping of panels, and also, of course, anything to do with riveting. Now you can see here the whole backside is basically flush and smooth, and that's because your flanges are over here on the front side of the panel, so they overlap each individual piece coming down, and that allows your back piece to be smooth. Now, you could do the opposite of this and run it the opposite way if that's what you wanted or the look you wanted. One thing I'll wind up probably doing here in the future is actually popping all these rivets out and coming back in and putting washers behind it to help strengthen this panel a little bit more. But you can also see by doing that, that gives this panel a little bit of flex and movement to help contour to the window a lot better as well. Now, unfortunately, this is as far as I got with the armored panels on this thing because I still don't have doors. And until I get doors, there's no need or rhyme or reason for me to go ahead and further do the panels. And there's no reason for me to do the front window or back window panels until I get the remainder of the roll cage in, so I can make the track and the pulley system for that. But in what I'll essentially call Season 2, we will definitely be getting back into doing more armored panels for both the doors, window, and rear window. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode and this series, and we'll be back next Wednesday with episode 8, where we'll be getting into something that's a little bit more Mad Max, let's say.